Oh my god, it's a bad hair day. Hold on, I gotta blow my nose. Alrighty, so let's do this. No idea what that is. So, how's it going? Looks like the carburetor's holding together. When it's at idle, you can hardly hear it. So I'm gonna have to maybe adjust the idle a little bit higher, just a scotch. I'll probably get the expensive as fuck spark plugs because that will burn the fuel more efficiently and cleanly. So that when I do go in for another smoke test, hopefully it'll pass. With the carburetor working properly and everything else. Oh, Cold War. Oh, Cold War J-Cats and cookies. It was supposed to be cuckoos. So, okay. We'll go with cookies. I don't know. What does the end of the trail flag mean upside down? I wonder what that means. Anyways, so beginning of the trail. See, there's this stuff in my life that I kind of try to dance around because, you know, my spiritual beliefs and what I think about certain things and what certain things mean in my life, well, probably doesn't matter to most people out there. Even if it does matter, do they need to know how much it matters? You know what I mean? It's just some of this, and I guess that's where let me put it this way. Jordan Peterson put it good. I think it's episode 1139 on the Joe Rogan Experience. Jordan Peterson's your classical. Oh, the camera's on this side today. Okay. Jordan Peterson's your classical liberal. He's what I would call a real liberal, somebody that I would enjoy listening to, and you know, I'd probably irritate the fuck out of him because he'd probably ask, "Well, Joel, you know all these things, obviously, so how come your life isn't better?" Like, well, you know all those people you talk about? Well, somehow I stirred up a few hornets' nest of those types just by being born. No, literally. You know all that cultural appropriation stuff you talk about? Well, sometimes what happens is at some point they seek to legitimize what they have appropriated. So they try to offer back to what is rightfully someone's. Back to, like, how are you going to offer something that you can't take in the first place? You have no clue. You don't even know what fucking Caliburnus is. Come on, you know, Excalibur is kind of it's more than a metaphor. It's intangible. Call it a type of wisdom. I really don't give a fuck. And what's it drawn from? Oh, let me see. I was saying it's drawn. You know, before it was in the movie. It was kind of shown in the Clive Owen movie a little bit, but unless you knew, you wouldn't have caught on to it. Now, what does this have to do with fucking Cold War J-Cats and cuckoos or cookies? I guess cookies fits. A lot, actually. Communism is known for a long time what you have to do in order to completely take over a country, another country that is not your own, is you have to destroy their spiritual beliefs, their religion, their gods. You have to cause them to become completely atheist, right? Which is what they tried to do in Russia, but they forced too harsh of a, or too yeah. But now it's here, right? But see, there's few people a few steps ahead of the. Yeah, see, I don't blame Russia for it. It's just remnants of parts of their stuff and remnants of some of our stuff. So really, who's to blame? Um, we might have brought down that wall, but they beat us on other levels. Because some of our people were too busy writing fanciful, well, you know what a grant writer is, right? Let's just say some people got really good at grant writing to have their projects and programs funded, while other more important things were defunded or ran on a shoestring, or like in my case, what happened in my case. You fuckers want to cherry pick something that you shouldn't cherry pick. It's pretty stupid. Doesn't matter whether you're the enemy or not. If you're cherry picking certain things, and well, if Aquino is the mind war guy that fucks with heads, there probably is somebody in the world, at least one person, that specialized in countering things like that. And some idiots probably felt that it was better to run me through certain mazes and take notes. That way they can control. Anyways, let's just put it this way: cut out all the fucking middlemen. That's why some of this stuff that should work isn't working. And put me in charge of that. Tell Aquino he has to listen to me. Give me more of a rank than him. How's that sound? And anybody working in psychological operations should be allowed to smoke weed. Because that way you can laugh at your paranoia. Right? No, anyways. I'm kind of serious in some ways, and I'm kind of joking in other ways. Let's see. Girl Scout cookies or Covelo moss. Oh, 131. See, I also look at synchronistic things, but here's the thing. You know, if you get into looking at too much synchronicities, when you start letting that run your life, you know how easy it would be to manipulate you? And then if you get a large group of people operating on a similar set of synchronicities, you know, like they all watch a certain news channel in the morning or something, so you put a certain commercial on there or whatever, or a certain phone number or whatever, a certain number or whatever. Then you know they're going to drive by it in the morning or whatever, you know. So you could even do it to more than one person. But you could even specifically target a person and get them going down a wrong trail of false synchronicities. But see, telling you that that is possible, telling you that it is possible that some people have been manipulated in that fashion, is also telling you that it's possible to do, which I don't like telling you. I really don't. Why do you think I was drinking so fucking much? Do you think I was drinking because of my life's petty bullshit? Human, please. So, for those that are students of the nature versus nurture question, how would you be able to discern what is part of my nature based on my genetics and what has the nurturing, the environments that I've been thrust into, what has that played a role in it all? Has it, you see, you didn't get a baseline of my nature, did you? Did you get it from my grandfather? Oh, wait, is that it? You did it to my dad. We saw what happened to him. What happened to my dad is he kind of had a really good childhood. I mean, think about it. My grandfather was a past Grand Master of the Blazing Star Lodge number 11 of New Hampshire. Blazing Star happens to be the dog star, which is also associated with the family, ironically. So there's all these synchronicities that couldn't have been put there by somebody to manipulate my mind or manipulate my path. So if you're looking at these synchronicities in your life, you need to be aware that there are people out there that will take advantage of that if they know that that's what you look for in certain things. Or they will make sure to point it out. If they know that you're looking at certain synchronicities, they might point out certain synchronicities that could jive with the synchronicities that you're noticing that you mentioned to them, and they could steer you to where they want you. But we're getting into some really hardcore shit now, whether you know it or not. I had a friend that used to play games like that with people. Ironically, he was one of my best friends. You could say we were like opposites in a way. But you see, he looked more lovey-dovey, happy hippie, frilly, colorful bandanas, phenomenal guitar player. I mean, the guy he was a prodigy musician. I still don't understand why he never, I wonder why that was never part of his, anyways. But he died. But he was also part of the problem, as I found out. See, there were a lot of people trying to control me. Now, why would they want to try to control me? I mean, I'm a nobody. Oh, yeah, like they did Caractacus. They wanted me to conform to whatever they wanted. They figured they had me in their environment, in their playground, in their backyard. And they could manipulate me to be the way they wanted me to be. Some of those depictions of Caractacus, it shows his hair like that. The other irony, huh? So, I'm going full Caractacus, motherfuckers. You know what's funny? Is the depiction... Yeah, it's kind of creepy when it... No, seriously, if you go look at some depictions of Caractacus, you'll see the similarity right now. But he looks pissed in those depictions. So, when something like Rome, among others, have tried to legitimize themselves by trying to entrap, ensnare, convince, manipulate, condition, to give in, to conform to their insanity. What should I do? I mean, you see, there's this title that's hereditary. It's Pendraco Insularis, or something like that. It means head of the dragons, above the dragons. It was a title given to my family by that church. And it was supposed to signify that we were equal to what you should call a bishop. A bishop should be the head of the church, not a pope. But hey, I'm not here to correct how you do your shit. But Rome is still kind of encroaching. They kind of went against certain agreements. But I'm not supposed to know about those agreements, huh? Because I was supposed to be kept uneducated and kept in the wild and kept in the ghettos. You see how similar that latest movie is? But see, this sounds crazy, doesn't it? But see, that's the crazy part, is the fact that it's fucking my reality. It is a reality. It's not a made-up reality for me. It's not something that I sought out. I was happy being a nobody that took to the Native American ways. You know? It was like, oh, cool. I get along with the spirits of your people. Sweet. Reminds me, on the Yankton Reservation, I was there for a Sundance right after I had a major surgery. I was still healing from it. I was kind of hobbling around. And a medicine person, I don't know if you see it. It's hard to differentiate when you know all the different names or whatever categories. You know, it's easier to just say medicine person. Somebody in the priest class or clergy, if you will. Noticed that butterflies were following me around. He looked at me and says, huh, did you know that Sitting Bull is watching you? Really? Oh, that's my cousin's. Actually, it is. My cousins are War Eagle and Sitting Bull. And yeah. So, another synchronicity. Somebody from my line kept from knowing finds out he has all this weird stuff going on and might have been used in some Cold War, counterterrorism, some whatever. Yeah, we probably worked with the Russians too. I remember something about the Chinese. We went over there for some kind of whatever, and it was with the Marines, and we were told to basically throw the competition, basically lose, because we didn't want to offend the Chinese. Well, see, there's a problem with that, because in their culture, if we'd won, they would have had more respect for us. Do we want their respect, or do we want them going, oh, poor little American, he lose bad? See, that's where you run into these cultural foibles. Now, should we continue to lose and present a soft hiney to fuck? Or should we show them a hard American cock? Sorry, I couldn't help myself. So what do you think that the king of the Canty would be like? Modern day. I mean, it's just the way it is. That's the fucking hilarity of this shit. If people are sitting there fucking saying all this shit, I'm like going, where are you fucking coming off with this? Now, I could see if I had some titles, or if I was daddy's little fucking groom to take over the corporation, silver spoon fed boy that didn't even have to wipe his ass, I could see people coming off like that. That's how they were coming off. Like I had some, and because I was just being me like this, they assumed, oh, well, look at, he's flaunting. What am I flaunting? You get away with more shit than I do. Why is that? Why do I have to be perfect? Am I supposed to represent something? Oh, well, why don't you help me out instead of testing me? Oh, yeah, see, and that's the other part of it. With my grandfather on my dad's side, you know, where I get those titles and stuff because my parents were married. I was born in wedlock. Everything's, you see, and that's the other thing. The only thing that could keep me from exercising the authority given to my titles would be if I were to be schizophrenic. Is that why they kept trying to diagnose me that? See, I found that along the way when I was researching some of this stuff. I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. You wouldn't want a schizophrenic king. So, and that was kind of like a bylaw for a whole set of kings. It wasn't just for one king. It was like, hey, we don't want to be dealing with no crazy motherfuckers. Right? Imagine having a schizophrenic king. It's probably why you end up with those tyrants. You know, they get all fucking weird and shit. They get all pasty faced and scabs all over the place. Yeah, you see them homeless all the time. So yeah, this friend of mine that knew how to play certain mind games and stuff with people and knew some spiritual things and so on and so forth. Kind of like a contemporary of mine. Um, what was I gonna say? He used to say things to me that sounded like he felt that I should hold myself to a higher level. Like I should hold my head above you. Basically, conduct myself as if I was better than others. So here I am. I'm sure people figured I was gonna die, so why, whatever, and well, let's make his life at least have something, like, contribute before he dies at puberty. Whoops, I didn't die at puberty. See, they were fucking convinced I was gonna die at a young age because of my handicap. Which, ironically, there's certain things that run in the Merovingian line. But don't look at the color of my hair. It's probably on my mom's side. Because you know where the Merovingians went, right? Oh, you don't know where they went, do you? But it said that the son of Dagobert, he escaped to a monastery or something somewhere. So that's connected to a church. Which church would that be? At around late 700s. And it's also believed that he had a scoliosis of some sort. See, and I came up with this theory about that. After generations and generations of carrying a sword and shield, your body might start adapting to it, right? So carry your book bags and your ball bats. Oh, anyways, just kidding. So, again, what does all this have to do with the Cold War? Well, in order for communism to take a foothold, they have to destabilize certain cultures and certain points of that inner strength, that stuff that you don't necessarily own, but you caretake, and you're also part of. You know what I mean? It's, how do I explain it? Like I said, you don't really own it, but you are it, and it could cause some personal feelings at times because when it's attacked, that means you're being attacked. And if you're being attacked, then whatever's behind you is being attacked. Now, what does that have to do with the Native Americans? Well, it turns out that some great great uncle, my great 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 yeah grandfather's brother took a trip here around 582 AD. I guess they hung out somewhere around Kentucky. Now a lot of people think it was just Vikings. Well, see, there's the thing is, back then our Marine Corps were Vikings. We were like the sailors, right? And they were the Marines. Vikings make really fucking good Marines, by the way. Like fucking juggernauts, I'll tell you what. But see, that's part of the real history. A lot of people want to say there was all this conflict between my people and their people, but there really wasn't, because actually there's a cousin that became king of somewhere in Vikingville or whatever. I don't know. I can't remember everything. So yeah, there's a scene in Britannia when these Romans get into it to somebody's cellar stash, and it looks like they pull out a nug and they probably smoke it or eat it or something. I think they ate some mushrooms too. This is part of my culture, assholes. So, back in about 582 AD, Prince Madoc, name was Prince Madoc. His brother, King Arthur, too, what they say. The thing is people get too caught up in the name Arthur. Um, the thing about Arthur is it sounds more like a Trexus Xerxes to me than it does. Why does Arcturus and Trexus Xerxes and King Arthur? Yeah, I'll have a right. Well, it's because the actual King Arthur bloodline is related to Cyrus the Great, which is probably where some of that chivalry concept came from. You know how Cyrus the Great and Queen Esther had their little get down, right? And he ended up freeing the Hebrews in Egypt and the Babylonians, and he did away with slavery for a period of time there. Yeah. So, there's these little parts in history that a lot of people don't know. And then people assume that Cyrus is Iranian. Well, here's the thing is not all Persians are Iranian, but all Iranians are Persian. Persia was kind of like the first America in a sense, okay? Bill of Rights and everything. Pay the workers, don't just fucking whip them. It is what it is. You can't take this out of me. It's it's bred into me rather than inbred. That and I am reportedly supposed to have some Abenaki in me, but I think it's cooler that I managed to learn something about the sweat lodge and put it to some use. And I still carry that knowledge and that experience to where when the time comes I can put up a sweat lodge and I know what to do. See, a lot of people, they're prepping. Let me put it this way. You know how preppers are, right? Well, that's how I prep. I spiritually prep. I intellectually prep. I psychologically prep. That's where my mindset is with it. During that, I prep like this because somebody like me, with if shit did hit the fan, well, this is something that I could definitely use. My little traveling therapy booth. Oh, you need some therapy? Come on in. Let me roll a joint. Want a cup of coffee? Nah, no drinking during therapy. Just coffee and weed. Yeah, let's talk about your problems. And then I'll tell you about my problems, and you'll forget all about your problems, and you'll have a happy day. No, I'm kind of kidding. No, I need to stop being such an introvert. I've had to live in a foxhole for 2 decades. So all this stuff you see going on around you, all the stuff, it's. I'm like, well, now, see, I told you 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I said, check this out. What's happening to me is going to happen to the rest of you. When they get away with it, doing it to me, they're going to do it to the rest of you. And the rest of you are going to think that it's isolated for a period of time. And then you're going to wake up to the fact that no, it's fucked up and it's being done. And for a lot of people, it'll be too late because they'll be hemmed in, stitched up, and kept wrapped up in this, kept busy doing that. And at some point, it'll reach a catalyst point. A chemical reaction will occur, so to speak. And I plan on getting as many people mentally prepared as I possibly can by pointing a few things out for them to think about. Planting seeds, right? A lot of people think I'm just fucking crazy and trying to cause problems and stuff, and well, you might not want to hear it, but I'm planting that seed, right? If I pissed you off with what I said, you might remember some of what I said for a while. If it fucking got under your skin a little bit, right? Especially if then you found out that I was perfectly within reason to be that volatile for a period of time. And when it was understood what was going on by the people that I felt were more important in that area, yeah, I would rather have law enforcement and other parts of society to know that I'm sane and I'm not a problem rather than some fucking crisis worker that thinks they can diagnose me when let me diagnose you first, asshole. And that's part of the problem. I mean, there's some people that probably intended well, but when I have to jump through each hoop and each individual, and each one has their little test, their little way to psych evaluate you, you get fucking annoyed. So back to the anger stuff and my Masonic grandfather. When I was about 9 years old, I saw this letter. And it was about Master Kimball. It was addressed to my mother. And I'm Master Kimball, I guess. So, in it said, when Joel overcomes his anger, he will be a man of great character. Here's the thing. You know what my stepdad was doing during that time? He would put me down on the ground face first, dig his knee or his elbow into my back and cause me to scream. You know what he'd then do? He'd tell my mom that he was in there calming me down. I was having a fit. It was easy to convince her and others that I was having a fit because of my birth defect. Oh, he's flipping out because he hates his life. I hate it when I crap my pants, but if I take care of stuff and whatever, one good day makes up for 2 crappy days. I'd have about 2 good days out of the week, then 1 or 2 days. I'd have at least 1 or 2 bad days. But every day was a struggle in just, anyways, you don't need to know all the details. It was pretty fucked up. So it was easy for people to convince others that it was me because, oh, he's got this physical problem. And look at his. Like my hair. So, because of his birth defect and the stress he goes through behind it, he's going to have severe mental issues. Well, you believing that caused me most of my mental issues. I was working on my shit to begin with. That and psychology is shit like that is just it's I just understand it. Oh, I guess I would because it kind of runs in the bloodline a little bit, huh? Have you watched Britannia? Oh man, they're displaying a lot of psychological stuff. The combination of the spiritual and the psychological. Don't you know about that? Oh, you don't. I've been talking about it quite a bit, haven't I? Pretty sure I've talked about the science and the spiritual and the psychological and the spiritual, and how spirituality, psychology, and science at one time were just the same thing underneath the same roof. Isn't that kind of a trinity? The science of psychological spirituality. How's that one for you? SPS. It's the opposite of piss. SPS. Welcome to the most current SPS seminar. Well, what's quantum psychology? Or what's it supposed to be? My thing's quantum heart logic. But quantum heart logic nobody's heard of unless they heard about it from me. So what's my point there, right? There is a logic of the heart. And when you understand it, then you're really fucked. And you really get confused. Because you sit there and you wonder why people don't listen to the logic of their heart and then discern it with their mind. How does your mind feel about the logic your heart is displaying? You just got to turn it around and reverse it a little bit. Here, maybe if I really get the hair going, people will believe me. Because, I might know what I'm talking about. I don't know. How's that? No, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just a crazy fool. But, anyways. Seriously. Have you ever really looked at what your heart does, how it responds and reacts to things? I'm talking about your emotional heart. The stuff that either kicks you in the nuts or causes your heart to flutter like a butterfly. You know what I mean? It gives you the warm goosebumps, the cold goosebumps, whatever the fucking goosebumps it is that you get. Um, that song that you get that kind of national anthem feeling going on. Sorry, I get that feeling. My bad, but um, have you ever sat there and looked at the logic behind it? Why you feel that way? Maybe what the foundation of those feelings are, and where it's going. It's I guess you could say, if you track animals, if you know anything about tracking, you could say it's kind of like tracking the logic of your heart? And if you could start discerning the logic of your heart, if you could start discerning the emotional state of mind that it puts you in, what's it triggering up here? What kind of plans are you starting to think about? Because somebody pissed in your Cheerios, but you're not thinking about how upset you are because, yeah, whether or not you don't consider whether or not they pissed in your Cheerios on purpose, or if it was a stepping on your toe by accident on a crowded bus. A lot of people don't consider the crowded bus. Or did you come up on somebody that's been living in a foxhole too long, too fast? Did you go like this? Did you stick your hand in their face? And then did you act like it was nothing when they said, hey man, dude, you just nearly fucking lost an eye socket. I'm sorry, my flinch, if I scared you. But you know what I mean? It's like, especially if the person's bigger than you, or it's with a stick or something, you know? I just don't understand why people would want to intentionally provoke others. I mean, I've had my fair share just because of my appearance. There's nothing I can do about my appearance. It doesn't matter what I do. I can grow a beard, I can grow my hair long, short, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what clothes I wear. Haters are haters. It's just what it is. They get their needs met and extra by giving a line of shit. The con men that never have to really do what they say they're capable of doing. And or if they do, usually they'll set up a situation and sucker punch somebody while they're drunk off their ass and claim that they're some ninja. Like, dude, yeah, you're fucking sober. He's drunk off his ass. Anybody could walk up there and fucking do some weird ass fucking ninja move and look like they actually pulled it off. Because you just go, and that motherfucker's falling over, right? I mean, come on, really? And stuff's, you know, the only, if anything deserves to come to violence, it should come to violence sober, right? If you come to violence sober, then at least you're of sober mind. And oh, is that why sober people don't tend to fight a lot? That makes sense, doesn't it? But that includes other substances, right? Or certain substances, I should say. Aside from the guy that mugs somebody to get their dope, but because heroin addicts do that, but pretty much heroin addicts are pretty docile most of the time. But meth and alcohol, things like that, no bueno. That shit can get volatile. And then people fight for no reason. Arguments and violence. But if they just waited until they were sober and took another look at it, it'd be like, what? This is stupid. I'm going to destroy my life and that person's life over what? So I don't know. So everybody flexes and postures. And see, there's the other thing is while everybody's flexing and posturing at the lower levels in America, a lot of our politicians have been giving chunks of America away, acting like spineless little cowards. Sure gave a lot of uranium away, eh? So, When you're trying to undermine patriarchal systems, because that's a big one that communism has to get out of the way. But then if you have communism in one hand, and the Catholic Church in the other, because the Vatican is also a country, and then you notice it appears that some of the same players on both sides, almost like they're from the same source. Huh. So did communism just move from Russia to the Vatican? I guess that's possible. So, boy, imagine if communism got control of the Catholic Church, and instead of trying to cause nations to become atheist, you just took over what is already a state religion that's spread throughout the world, where certain people pledge allegiance to, which kind of, in my mind, puts people in sort of a gray area as far as security clearances go, if they're Catholic. Well, okay, well, how Catholic are you? I mean, I hate to say, I mean, I have a lot of Catholic family, so it's not because I got a problem with Catholics per se. I'm just saying, there might be those Catholics that give such allegiance to the Vatican that they would. And then what would happen in that kind of mess? I would hate to think that the Vatican would risk relations as well as the freedom of movement that they have by trying to manipulate people in certain agencies or positions. That's just one of the concerns I have about some things. But see, I don't think about the things most people think about. And for me, it's just ambient thoughts. It's just, it doesn't really take me much work to consider these things. And that's just the way it is, right? So what gives other people a right to take advantage of me? And how many other people are they doing it to? I seriously doubt many, because it would be hard to contain it. Because then you'd have overlaps and people that were doing certain tasks in compartmentalized areas would start noticing certain patterns, and they might notice what the tasks that they're doing that they don't see as very volatile. Yeah, it's just how compartmentalization works. So, can't really call me a savant. So yeah, when I realized that after everything that I had overcome, there were these other obstacles to overcome, it was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna get drunk. I'm gonna give them a wide open target. What's one of the tactics in Aikido, or what's the main strategy in Aikido, is you give the enemy an alley of attack, an avenue of attack, to control their attack. When you funnel the enemy into a pillbox. So, And I was reminded of that watching that TV show Britannia. The head druid used a similar game or tactic, or was led to consider concerning the Roman general that was there. That was supposed to be some embodiment of some demon. Yeah, a pretty interesting series. Um, I don't know how accurate the mythology is. I'll probably get into looking into. I wonder if these mythologies they're mentioning are real. For me, that's just a personal thing. My Lakota teacher advised us to learn about our own people after we learned his ways. So I'm following his advice to honor his memory. So there you go. Call me selfish if you want. Oh, you think you're all that? Oh, no, I'm just doing what I was told to do. Anyways, most pipe carriers can't participate in warfare. But there are certain pipe carriers that are given certain anyways. You okay, Mar? Snoot full of dust. So, I don't know. So part of what the communists did 100 years ago in Russia was they got the feminists to be a big part of their spearhead campaign. See, they destroy the patriarchy, they replace it with an easily toppled matriarchy. And then they replace the patriarchy with their tyrannical, fucking insane patriarchy as they do away with the easily toppled feminist matriarchy that spearheaded their efforts. It's all part of Russian history. I haven't read the whole book, but that's pretty much what a good part of it amounted to. Feminists played a big part in what happened in Russia the last 100 years. And then the communists, look what happened. What did they do after they got power? All the feminists and homosexuals and artists and all those people got. So that's why some of this is a bit frustrating to talk about, because I feel like it might cause some people to feel insulted. While I'm sitting here going, hey, people, wake the fuck up, okay? I was going to the photo fair when I was a little boy because it was always around my birthday. You know the photo fair in San Francisco, the free concert for 3 days? What, Mar? Hold on a second. You got water. So, when people stereotype me, they really don't have any idea who they're stereotyping or where I come from. I mean, do you guys really know how abusive certain areas of the left are? I do. But I still didn't become a conservative Republican. It's those cycles. It's fucking nature, right? What, Mar? I gotta put Marley outside. So just because I had a few bad examples just doesn't mean I'm gonna judge the rest of them. But the way the rest of them have acted based on whatever fucking ideology they think they're following, that's what bothers me, and that's what probably hurts the most. You know, just because I make you think that I'm part of what, and what. Oh, you're upset because I don't want to be part of this, that, or the other thing, and I prefer to remain neutral, and I do not see the logic in being communist. So sorry, Sally. I'll be right back. I've got to put Marley outside. He always does that. So, where the fuck was I? Yeah, right here, fucking pinch nerve. Feels like something in my neck. Well, pinch nerve's better than what it used to do. So in asymmetric warfare and sixth generation warfare, what or who would be the target? And then what if they thought that my father, whatever, he had brain damage? Starting in, what, 85, 86? So obviously he didn't have much influence over me. So I'm still trying to figure out how anybody thought getting him out of the way they were going to be able to control me better. Like who's going to try to control me? See, that's the one plus I've always had is the arrogance of certain people involved. Their consumption of substances that causes a level of what do they call that? Delusions of grandeur. So, oh well. Oh, now Marley wants to get back in. I gotta go get Marley now. I'll be right back. Hold on, Mara, I'm coming. Hold on. Are you done? So, let's smoke another joint together real quick before I have my veg sesh. So, alright. In a nutshell, rewriting history, changing certain memes, steering certain sayings in certain directions is all defined in 1984, right? And then you have a few select that are picked out of the herd, so to say, like Jim Jones, maybe. Ward Churchill. You know, any number of guys, right? To be used in ideological subversion. So, to do that, you need to root the changes you're making. So, you use the histories that you're changing. Now, almost 100 years ago, certain parts of the world, certain histories and educations were taken out of the schools. You know, like the history of the Kantee tribe. Right? The can't I? Well, I don't know. Can you? If you can't, let me help, okay? I don't know. I just think it's a funny play on words when you think about it. So, I'm going to go ahead and put my makeshift muffler on there if I can find it to cut down some of that noise. Trying to turn this more into a living room, more than one seat. Slowly coming together. I gotta Google some stuff tonight too. Fuck. So I better wrap this up. It's almost 8 o'clock. I don't want to run the generator past 10. Even though there's planes and helicopters and shit always flying in. So it's not like I'm making more of a racket than people are accustomed to, I guess. I don't know. If somebody who doesn't like it, they can let me know and I'll shut it off. Fuck it. That's the other thing that's bothersome sometimes is people are intimidated when they don't have to be. I mean, I get it. Somebody that thinks like I do and talks about the subject matter I do, not a lot of people feel comfortable around some of that, right? But I see it as part of what emergency response is you need to understand the psychological cascade effects beyond what your statistics might show that are usually cooked up by somebody for some reason. So with that, I will catch y'all later. And when I'm more rested, I'm sure these chats will pick up a bit more, be a bit more informative. But right now I'm having to do repairs and keep everything together and stay away from slippery places and situations so that I don't end up getting drunk. Doing my meetings, getting this all legal, working the bugs out of the vehicle, so you know, if it's in the cards or whatever for me to move out of state, you know, I wouldn't mind living in another state for a while. Oh, and see, C.W. Channer's doing Truth or Consequences about David Wilcox and Alex Jones. Fuck. I don't like having to make choices of what to watch. It really bothers me. What, Marley? No, you just went outside. Fuck off. Hey, you and that horse you're on, you can both go fuck yourselves. Hey, why don't you go fuck each other? Yeah, go ahead. You and the horse you rode in on. I don't know what you're saying, Marley. But it's kind of, you know how much he weighs? He's fucking like 40 pounds. And how low he sits to the ground? I have to lift him into the vehicle? So, anyways. So far, so good. Every time I do a little fix-it thing on this, it gets a little bit better. 2,000 miles, I think most of the problems that I'm going to have, I've already had. I think I should change the transmission fluid. Yeah, I need to look into changing the tranny fluid. So, catch y'all later. God bless. Good night, y'all. Yeah, you know. Marley, what? Do you want to say hi? Is that it? Say hi. Say hi. Say hi, people. They're right there. Come there. I don't know. I guess that's what he wanted to do. Who are you talking to? So, is that it? Yeah? Alright, so I'm gonna go do this little dampening thing I got with a board. Figure out what he wants. I think I'm gonna start doing a series on Cold War crap. Wonder what I should call it. Cold War cookies? Cold War cookies? Cold War road apples. He's going full monkey on me. Hey, never go full monkey. Alright. So, catch y'all later. You guys have a good night. And, hold on. I'll be right back. What? Being a real asshole. Really are. What is that tape? Well, since I'm going out there to do that, I might as well do this at the same time, Omar. Just hold your horses. Jerky. Sorry about that. So, let's wrap this up. I need to get another muffler for that. What, Mar? What? Now you want to go out? All right. Come on, asshole. Yeah, you're the asshole. Glad you know you're the asshole. It's all right. Hey, to bid you a good night. And yeah, check out what Jordan Peterson has to say. Check out some of what Dave Acton has been saying. And then consider that both might have more to do with one another than you know. And I have no idea what Marley's problem is at the moment, but I need to figure it out or he's going to drive me fucking batty. So I'll catch you all later. You guys have a good night.